Welcome to the Empowered Team podcast. This is such an exciting episode. I am really glad to have you on because I think this is something that is going to change your perspective on your life and your future, meaning the year coming up. This is our 2024 reflection episode. And I want to do an episode like this because it really promotes your own alignment, promotes your own personal growth. But there's research behind reflecting on your year. The stuff that says you're going to have greater well-being, you're going to make better decisions, you're going to have reduced stress, you're going to have greater self-esteem, and it's going to facilitate your own personal growth. It does this because you can process the stuff that happened. And I know that for me, I really need to process the stuff that happened. A lot of stuff has happened in my year. A lot of stuff happens in my life. And if I don't get to reflect on it, then I'm doing myself a disservice. In fact, I'm doing my future, my family, the things I want, I'm doing a disservice for what I want in my future. There's a quote by John Dewey. And this is the quote: "We do not learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on experience." That's John Dewey. And he was a philosopher and a psychologist many years ago. But I love this quote because it's not just that we experience things. I love to experience things, but I've had a habit in my past of accomplishing a goal, experiencing a major event, and moving so quickly on to the next one that it's like that thing didn't exist. And by reflecting, that's where we get to learn from the experience. We do not learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on experience. Such a good thing. All right, so this is how I'd like you to use this episode. You might want to share it right away so you can get your whole family involved, your coworkers involved, other people involved, because you know if this is good for you, it's good for those you love. So what I'd like you to do in this is pause the episode, have a journal, and answer the questions. We're going to go through the top 10 questions plus some bonus ones, the top 10 questions that I've gathered together and really used my favorites in order for you to reflect on your year. And this is something that I use as well. I'm refining it and using it, and I've been refining it for many years. I've been doing this type of reflective exercise for over 25 years, except what it used to be was about 3 questions. And now it's more questions, however, more specific questions, more purposeful questions, really guiding my brain to understand what has occurred and what I want to occur. So what I'd like you to do is have a journal, have a pen, have something to support yourself, maybe a relaxing experience, maybe a tea, maybe a comfortable chair, but get yourself comfortable so that you can really go deep. You're going to think, and I want you to take at least an hour to do this, and it's so worth it. This is the kind of time that is the most valuable time of your entire life because you're creating your life and you're learning from your life. So let's get started. I'm going to share about 1999. I was living in a 665-foot square foot house, and I made approximately $1,000 a month. And I was paying my mortgage, but I didn't have much left over for groceries and all the other things that I wanted. But I was happy. I loved that I had this home. And I also wanted to grow. I wanted to do more. I wanted to experience more, earn more, all of those things. And that year I reflected and I was happy about certain things, but it was 1999 going into 2020. And it was kind of a significant time for most people in the world because everybody talked about the millennium and going into the year 2000 and how everything was going to be so different. And that was one of the reasons I remember reflecting. And I wrote down the things I wanted for the next year. And it so happens that for the next year, I was going to have a baby. So it was another year I really remember. And I wrote down at least 10 things and I posted them in my bathroom on the wall so I'd see them every day. They were, in fact, in front of the toilet. And I accomplished every one of those. And one of them was doubling my income. Now, when you make $1,000 a month, it's not very hard to double your income. But I know that that year shocked me because I doubled my income at a time when I had a baby and I didn't have maternity leave and I didn't have supplemental income. And I found a way to make things happen. So I learned so much. And it happened with the beginning effort of reflecting on the year and why I was in the position I was, whether it was great or not so great, but understanding all the things that led to where I was and then choosing where I wanted to go. And then when I accomplished all those 10 things that following year, it set a precedent for my brain, for my mindset to understand that I could learn from, I could create, and I could make it happen. And it was very, very powerful for me. Now, that's a lot of years ago. That's 25 years ago. Many of you listening may not be reflecting 25 years ago. Maybe you're reflecting 10 years ago. Maybe that's when you started to look at these things in your life. However, the way you want to use this episode right now is to reflect on the year 2024. Now, if you want to use it again midway through 2025 or in another year from now, that's all fine and good. But know that you're going to need some time. You're going to write down some things or type them, but I would encourage you to write them. Our brains slow down in order to write, and we retain the information more when we're writing on paper or writing on a tablet than we would if we're typing or just thinking about it. We want it out of our brain onto paper. And we also want you to pause the episode and take your time. So anytime I ask a question and ask you to reflect on it, just take your time on it. I value these questions so much because I've used them and I've learned and I've eliminated other questions. Everything is a refinement based on what's working for myself and for my clients and for my family. So it's very, very personal for me. And I really, it's vulnerable for me to share with you. However, it's a little scary for me to share some of the questions with you. However, I think it's worth it. It's really, really worth it. And I'd like to also share that it's not just about looking back. It's about celebrating. It's not just about learning from setbacks or challenges or experience. It's about celebrating. It's about seeing what we love in our lives as well. That allows us to not only be grateful and appreciate for what we have, but also to prepare for what we want coming next. The things we really love now, the things we want now, set the stage for not only gratitude in our future, but also creating more of what we want and more of what we don't have yet. So let's start with part one. Part one, these first few questions are all about celebrating the wins. This is so, so important. So here are the things I'd like you to focus on initially. The first question is this: what were the 3 most memorable moments of the past year? This is an important question because it allows your brain to focus on joy, gratitude, and the standout experiences. I think immediately, I haven't sat down and done all the questions yet because I'm saving it for a very specific date and time. However, I have them all on the tip of my brain. I just haven't fully processed it. But this one in particular, I can think of a bucket list trip to Iceland. I can think of getting 2 horses and what it's meant for me and my daughter and my family. I can think of creating a family reunion for my extended family that was uncertain whether or not it could happen. These 3 memorable moments are on the tip of my brain. And by writing about them and appreciating them and having gratitude and joy for what I was able to experience, then it sets the stage for really appreciating your life and celebrating the wins. So question 1, what were the 3 most memorable moments of the past year? Go ahead and dive into that one. Question 2, what was one achievement, no matter how big or small, what was one achievement you're most proud of? This is a question that allows you to recognize your effort. It allows you to recognize your own self-confidence, something that you put yourself out there for. And you may not have achieved the achievement. It's okay if you're acknowledging that the achievement was trying for blank. Don't be afraid of achieving via effort, not just accomplishment. Go ahead and achieve via effort, not just accomplishment. Or it could be an amazing accomplishment and you want to celebrate that. So this is question 2. What is one achievement you're most proud of? And question 3 in this first part of celebrating wins is, what was the smartest decision you made in your relationships, career, or for yourself? What was the smartest decision that you made? We want to explore these highly impactful choices that you've made in your life and understand your decision-making skills, knowing that they're improving upon your experience, upon whatever you've got going on in your life. So, what was the smartest decision you made in your relationships, career, or for yourself? And when I say smartest, it doesn't have to just be intellectually smartest. It could be most aligned with your values. It could be most emotionally intelligent. It could be any of those. This is subjective, so this is up to you. This isn't about what your boss would think. It's not about what your friends would think. It's about what you believe was the smartest decision you made in your relationships, career, or for yourself. That's question 3. Now we're on to part 2. Part 2 has a theme for the next questions, and this part is about exploring the lessons you learn. Now, you know from working with me, you know that lessons that you learn from often come from something difficult. It often comes from some challenge. We usually learn more from something that we struggled with or failed at than we learn from something we accomplished easily or won. However, there's always lessons to be learned from the wins or the losses or the struggles. So question 4 is this: what problems did you solve and what did you discover about yourself in the process? We want to encourage a growth mindset. We want to encourage self-awareness, and that prompts this question. What problems did you solve and what did you discover about yourself in the process? Question 5, what would you do differently and why? What would you do differently and why? I want to inspire you to grow. Don't be afraid of looking back and going, I would have done that differently. If I had a do-over, this is what it would look like. Don't worry about having a regret. There are some regrets I look back on, and I wish I had done it differently. And then I allow myself to not have a regret because I got the lesson from it. Had I not seen that I didn't like that, I wouldn't have learned the lesson. So what would you do differently and why? Question number 6. What commitments or beliefs no longer serve you? And what will you say no to next year because of this? So let me say that again. What commitments or beliefs no longer serve you? And what will you say no to next year because of this? This cleans up your mental clutter. You don't want to be bogged down by things you don't want anymore, and it causes friction and resistance. This clears your mental and emotional clutter by understanding what commitments or beliefs aren't something you want anymore, and you're willing to let them go and say no. Give yourself permission. Okay, on to our next section. This is part 3. Now, I hope you've been pausing after every question and giving yourself a chance to reflect, think about it, go deep, and write things down. Now, one little tip as we're going along here is that if you are having a hard time remembering, then there's trouble looking back. You're only remembering the last month, not the last year. It was a long time ago, 6 months ago, 10 months ago, 12 months ago. So one of the things that really helps me a lot is if I scroll back into photos in my phone. I always leave enough photos in my phone for 1 year. And this is the reason why, is so I can do my year-long reflection and so that I can also put them up on my screensaver and have a home screen that constantly changes and reminds me of beautiful places and people that I've loved to be around. That's a little tip for you right there if you want to do that too. However, using those photos are a great way to prompt your brain to remember times, places, things you experienced that you may have forgotten. So go ahead and scroll back in your phone if you haven't already. And again, pause after every question so you give your brain a chance to look back, to get the feelings, to really ground in what happened. All right, let's keep going. Part 3. This is about preparing for your future. So when we reflect, it's really understanding what's happened in order to understand ourselves now better and decide what we're going to do or not do, or feel or not feel in our future, how we want to think about it as well. Question 7. What is working really well in your life right now? What is lighting you up? What is bringing you joy? What is working really well? Because I promise you, sometimes the things that are working well get so underappreciated. They get so undervalued. And what does that do? Then we don't nurture or nourish the things that are really going well for us. And we want to do that. We want to give ourselves more wins, more success. There are so many little things that I love about my life. And sometimes I've overlooked them for years, and now I do not. I literally open the curtains in the morning, look outside, and say, "Hello, day. I am so happy to be with you." So, why does this matter? We're going to build on our strengths. We want to make sure that we are setting a foundation for our future in a way that has us not underappreciating what we currently love about our lives. All right. So, what is working really well in your life right now? Question number 8. What priorities have emerged for the upcoming year? So you might have found that as this year has gone on, you have a renewed sense of interest in something that you weren't expecting. You might have found that you need to focus a little more on your personal health. You might find that you have to pivot in your business. You might have learned something along 2024 that you weren't expecting, and it's created something that is a renewed or a brand new focus for 2025. What might that be? So, what priorities have emerged for the upcoming year? This helps you do a little bit of prioritization. Make sure that you're making the important important, not putting urgent all the way to the top of the list. Everyone else is urgent, but rather your own. What are your own priorities that are coming in? And question 9. Who did you impact the most this year and how? Who did you impact the most this year and how? I want to remind you that you are part of our community. We are the empowered. We not only take care of ourselves and take care of others, we take action. We're up to something bigger than ourselves. That means we're impacting other people. It might be your children, your employees, your spouse. It might be people you don't even know because of the things that you put into the world, the value that you create, a product, a business you work for. There are people that you impact. So who did you impact? Who did you impact the most and how? This allows you to really understand the ripple effect that you have in the world. I know that there are a lot of people that I look up to, a lot of people that I've learned from over the years, and some of them are famous, well-known people like Tony Robbins or I could go on and on. Aristotle, Socrates, Leonardo da Vinci. I quote one of his quotes over and over and over again. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. I love that. I use that to remind myself all the time. I'm sure that Leonardo da Vinci had no idea he would be influencing me in the many years later. So there are so many people that have influenced me. My parents, my father is influencing me so much right now with some of the relationship building that we've been doing in this last year. I really encourage you to understand the ripple effect that you have. How have you ripple affected? How have you influenced? How have you impacted other people? Take a look. And question 10, what 3 words would describe your past year, your 2024? What 3 words describe this past year? And what 3 words do you want to choose to guide your future year of 2025? I know that a few years ago, right around 2020, I had optimistic and energized and focused and loved those words. They were really pulling me through a year of uncertainty called the pandemic in 2020. These words are typically encompassing the feelings you had from the past year. And it doesn't have to be this perfect happiness, joy, love kind of thing. It can be challenged, sadness. It can be grief. Let it be what it is. Let yourself really understand and embrace what you've experienced in this past year. Look deeply to see what emerges, to see what comes to the surface for the 3 words you would use to describe 2024. And then allow yourself to, after this reflection, allow yourself to bring to the surface 3 words that will describe 2025 powerfully for you, that resonate with you, that are meaningful to you, that really matter to you. So use the 3 words because they will become anchors to remind you of what's mattering to you now and what you want for your future. Let them be there. It's a wonderful thing. Now, those are the 10 questions to reflect on 2024. Now, some of you know that in 2024, I've spent the year working on writing a book. The book is all about leadership and ethics in the AI era, the human algorithm. This is the era that we're heading into. And so, of course, I took all my content, all these questions that you've just experienced have been my own, and I have put them into my own customized GPT and had my AI explore with me. I used my AI to then prompt what questions would support the questions I've already created. What questions would support these 3 different sections that I've created? What questions would support my audience so that we can go a little bit further? So with the help of my AI, full transparency, I've come up with a few more questions that I think will be these bonus questions to support you in reflecting back. Now, if you are done with the 10 questions and you feel like you don't want to do any more, you just want to hear these questions, by all means, let that be the case. However, I highly encourage you to explore just a few more things, go a little bit deeper, uncover something, because there might have been a question that I asked that didn't resonate with you. It didn't pull anything up for you, but there's always another question. There's always something that can. So here's a couple more. What limiting belief did I let go of this year and how did it change me? Now, I didn't come up with this question. My personalized AI used my questions to find a question that it believed would resonate with you as the audience and with me as the creator of the questions. So, what limiting belief did I let go of this past year and how did it change me? That's a question I know the answer to, and I know I'm going to have some deep journaling to do on that one to really reflect on it because it's changed my life. It's changed my life already, and it was something that I let go of just a couple of months ago. So I would encourage you to uncover your internal growth with that question as well. Next one, what brought me unexpected joy or gratitude this year? I love the word appreciation. It is in my top 10 values right now. And joy and gratitude to me encompass appreciation. So what brought me joy or gratitude that was unexpected this year? Answer that one. Next question. bonus questions for you. What relationship deepened and how did I contribute to that deepening, to that relationship, to that person? What relationships deepened and how did I contribute to those relationships? Next one, what fear did I face or overcome and what did it teach me? What fear did I face or overcome and what did it teach me? You have courage, you have resilience. Sometimes we just need a little reminder of that courage and of that resilience. And this question will definitely highlight that for you. This is a really fun question. I like this one. If this year were a chapter in a book, what would its title be? Or how about this? If I was an animal this past year, what animal would I be? You could make it fun, make it however it works or resonates for you. If this year were a chapter in a book, what would its title be? Next question is this. What habit or routine, I love habits and routines, and I love to lean on structure. What habit or routine made the biggest difference in my life this year? This will help you focus on what's working. This will help you focus on your behavioral shifts that are giving you gifts in life. It's contributing to your success and contributing to your well-being. What habit or routine made the biggest difference in my life this year? Next one. What advice would the 2025 me give the now me? What advice would the person at the end of 2025 say to the now me? Hey, it's okay. You did so well. You deserve a pat on the back. What would that future you, maybe a year from now, maybe even 5 years from now, what would that future you be saying to the now version of you who's come through 2024? You deserve a pat on the back. You did all right. You're awesome. I love you. Try those on. And last question. What one word or phrase will guide me into the new year? This is where I'd like it to be a phrase for you. You've got your 3 words for 2024. You've got your 3 words for 2025. This is the phrase of the year. This is the sentence that you want to guide you. I've got this. 2025 is my year. I am courage. Whatever is resonating for you, whatever you think you're going to need or want to propel you forward into 2025, let this be your sentence. Go for it. To wrap this up, I want to wrap up with some gratitude. I am blown away at what this podcast has brought to me. This is over 320 episodes of podcasting, and the audience, the content, the growth it has brought me is so unexpected. I had no idea this journey would be like it is. And so I want to thank you and express my deepest gratitude for you in this time of year that's a transition time, and tell you how much I appreciate you. It really means a lot that you care about some of the things that I'm putting forward, and I hope it really makes a difference for you. I care a lot that you care a lot. Your support and your connection mean the world to me. What I would like to encourage everyone for this year is that every step forward counts, the tiniest step forward. And if you take a step backwards, that's probably what you needed in the moment. It's all okay. Every step forward counts. And we're here to help you take those little steps or big steps forward and have your back. That's what we do. That's why we're here. That's why we are the empowered. If this is something that resonates with you, by all means, join us on the Empowered team. We're a group coaching, supportive mastermind, and we are up to things that are making a difference in the world. We'd love to have you with us. Beyond that, what I think will really help you is the downloadable workbook that I've created with all of these questions for you to use. So if you're not into pausing the podcast and listening and you want to just have a PDF file to use again in another 3 months or 6 months, so that you can have this reflection really guide your mindset and growth optimally, then use the download. That is my gift for you, this free download. And I hope to see you and have you listening. I hope to have all kinds of interactions with you in some form or another in 2025. Let us know how we're doing. We love your feedback. If you think this is a great exercise for someone you care about, share this episode, share the downloadable workbook. We're here for you. Keep going. Happy 2024. Have an amazing start to 2025. Go for it.